I like throwing these at either you or quads. I don't prepare you for any of this, but I just throw all these higher or lowers at you. And I built this. Speaking of FIFA, built some FIFA cards for us there.
What are these? Are pickleball stats?
Yeah, these actually could be our pickleball stats, but see, I don't know why mine's still a little unknown. You've got the 99 rating. You got a good shot,
Sounds
good pace,
right.
good passing. Your defense, 50,
Yeah.
not the best, but mine's worse at 47. I've still got some unknown rates, but speed, agility, power.
Why is my physicality ahead of yours?
Well, I mean, I didn't adjust everything too much.
You need a bump there.
I think you're Lewandowski on this one, the striker there from Bayern. Anyways, I just threw some faces over there. Higher or lower? I like it. The graphic looks great over here on YouTube. And for podcast folks, I put my face on some of these FIFA cards that you get in FIFA. Let's get to higher or lower, Harm. I'm just going to throw, I got a bunch here and we only got about 15 minutes left in the show. So let's just, we only get you here once a week. I'm just going to throw them at you. Elias Pettersson, higher or lower than 90 points by the end of the season?
90?
90.
Higher.
Higher? Okay.
As long as he's healthy, that feels like a slam dunk.
Okay, interesting. So what is he sitting 10th, I think, right now in the NHL?
Yeah, he's on like 100 and low hundreds sort of pace right now.
Do you see it? If he's healthy, 100?
That's the real question mark. I thought the higher or lower you're going to send me was 100, and that would have me really thinking.
I mean, that would be very good for the Vancouver Canucks. I would love to see it more than anything. I just think that's a really big step for a player to take, and that step is so tough. Even if you're
tough on a bad team too.
Yes,
that's exactly maybe the Canucks aren't a bad team, but they're not a great team.
Right. I think that's going to be, if he takes that step, that's incredible. I'd love to see it more than anything, especially with this team and the way the season's likely going to kind of play out here. I think that's a huge step to take for a guy who hasn't even been point per game, right? Like,
especially when you consider that on top of his two-way value.
Exactly. Yeah.
You start to really superstar.
I mean, you get 100 points. There's probably only like maybe 10 players doing that.
It's too bad that the Canucks have been such a tire fire. Otherwise, Pettersson should be drawing national attention right now.
Yeah, that's true. And on top of that, it's not like I don't think he's really got going on the power play yet either.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, especially the shot. But I also think that, like, aside from the Kuzmenko tap-ins, like, he hasn't really gotten going or gotten kind of those loser points yet. It feels like every point that he's getting is like pretty damn earned for Pettersson up to this point. A lot of 5-on-5 points, obviously, as well. All right, next one, higher or lower? You might have to go. Yeah, you'll be okay with this one. Canucks penalty kill, finishing 25th in the league. Will it be higher than that or lower than that by the end of the season?
What's it at right now?
Right now, the penalty kill is 29th with 68.7%. So they'd have to improve a little bit, but also jump some teams to get to 25th in the league.
That's a good question. I would go lower just because I'm not as sold on the goaltending situation right now.
Yeah, and that's not been great so far this season. Well, she's save percentage up there of 881.
Even when Demko comes back, I just don't. I don't know if he's going to find his form right away, which was a big part of the penalty kills turnaround last season.
And putting the shooting percentage and the save percentage into account, the team is third in the league right now in shooting percentage, 31st in save percentage. So I think you're going to see a little bit of a balance out there. Like, I don't think the Canucks are going to finish third. I also don't think they'll finish 31st in save percentage. But even going to expected goals, they're not doing a good job defending. At 5-on-5, 30th in the league for expected goals against per 60. Another one here, as we can kind of see the stat up here for people on YouTube. The power play currently sits 6th in the league. Say that 5 times fast. They're clicking at 28.1%. Will the Canucks power play finished 6th in the league, higher or lower?
Higher
this season. So you think they get into the top 5?
I do. I think that the top unit is just so dynamic at this point, and the chemistry that they have, the amount of weapons where there isn't just, if I'm pre-scouting the Canucks penalty kill right now, there are just so many different ways that unit can score.
Right.
I mean, it isn't just the Bo Horvat in the bumper anymore. There's the Kuzmenko backdoor has been working a lot with Pettersson making that pass. Pettersson himself has the one-timer, which he hasn't even, other than the one goal that he hasn't even really been able to unleash that yet.
Yeah.
So
that's what teams are looking at right now. It feels like the way that you're seeing them defend is like the biggest strength. So maybe when teams start to lean off of that, that's when that part gets unlocked. I
Yes.
talked to JT Miller about this a couple weeks ago, and he's like, listen, sometimes it takes a few years of the group to like really figure it out. And we've talked about how much skill there is in that 5-man unit when they go out there. And yeah, you're together for a few years, you can really start to develop something with the power play. And that might be what we're starting to see this season as they continue to add. And then the Kuzmenko thing, like, I saw, what was it, like 9 of his 13 goals or something are just like tip ins. And it's like, and then some people are like, like even hearing like Shorty on the broadcast the other day, like, I could have scored from there, right? But like, yeah, if you got yourself in that position with the stick there, but Kuzmenko does a smart job of doing that, right? It's not just any player can come in and do that. Otherwise, you'd have Alex Chason still on this team making league minimum playing there. So I think they can get into the top 5 as well. So we got a lot of everybody in the chat here. Corey, Lisa, they say over.
Even recently when they haven't, I think the power play's cooled off a little bit recently, maybe the last few games or so. I mean, they've still been scoring, but like, even my point is, even when they have stretches where they're not converting on power play opportunities, they still look really dangerous. You still think that they're on the cusp of scoring.
Right. Danger. It looks.
They still look. They look dangerous every time they're on the ice. So that to me is just a really positive sign.
A couple more here in the chat I want to get to. Don says JT Miller's shot, you have to take that serious too. Yep, that's one of those points. And Sonny says if we just need a Hughes bomb, or it doesn't even need to be a bomb, but I think if Hughes can figure out just a little way to even have his wrist shot be that spot or work on that slap shot a little bit, that would, you'd have 5 positions that you feel super confident in scoring from.
I really like the point that the who brought up the Miller shot?
Don did.
Don brought up a great point because I was going to mention it, but there were so many other threats. That was a big part of it because I talked to JT after the game again, the season opener against Edmonton, where the power play, where we were talking about the special team, the Canucks' special teams were a disaster. They'd been scored on the penalty kill twice. The power play had allowed a shorthanded goal. I talked to him about the power play, and he said that Edmonton did a really good job of forcing Miller wide. And once he was forced wide, he said that he didn't have the threat of his shot. And because of that, the seam pass across was too predictable.
I see. Yeah.
And we've seen that over games is when Miller's able to come off the flank a little bit and he's coming downhill a little bit closer to the middle and teams are, let's say, cheating for the pass across, that's where he can perfectly place a shot and make the goaltender or the PK pay for it that way. So
yeah, wouldn't shock me at all to see Canucks power play in the top 5 this season. All right, next one, Bo Horvat. I feel like I almost put this a little conservative too. 39 goals by the end of the season.
I'll go higher.
Higher? You think he's into the 40s then? That's kind of the point of that.
Yeah, I think. I mean, what's he at right now? 20,
but he's clicking at 20. Like a 22% shooting percentage. So
of course,
I think,
like he's gonna regress for sure.
Right.
I'm not expecting, let's say, like a 50 goal campaign, but I mean, you need what, another 20 goals in how many games?
Yeah, another almost 55 games still, I think.
Yeah, that seems really, like, let's say it's 50, like let's say it's 55 hypothetically. It might not be exactly that. I mean, you'd be asking him to clip at a 29, 30 goal pace the rest of the way. Like that seems like
doable.
Especially a contract year. I don't know what it is. I've been meaning to do a study on this.
Yeah.
Look at the number of players that had massive breakouts in contract years last season when it came to guys like Nazem Kadri all of a sudden became an 87 point in 71 games sort of guy. Philip Forsberg scoring over 40 goals, being over a point per game. There's just something about a contract year and the motivation to get paid. Just
all about the
psychological
money,
aspect.
You should know this, Harman. It's all about the money.
Here comes the money.
I think agents would be interesting to have some quotes from on a story like that.
Yeah.
Quinn Hughes, 73 points on the season.
I'll take the over.
Take the over on that.
Especially the power play clicking the way it is. And as long as the power play keeps going and as long as he continues staying healthy, I think he's got a good shot at it.
Dakota Joshua, 11 goals on the season.
Is that 5 right now?
I think 6 right now.
6 right now? I mean, he's only needs 5.
It's clicking good, but I think the process for the way that he's scoring these goals is something that's sustainable.
Yeah.
I'm going over there. I think he'll get 12-ish, 13.
I think 11 might be right bang on with where he finishes.
Well, it's not an option, Harm. Higher or lower?
We'll go higher then.
All right. We got a couple of bigger ones here. Adding draft picks from trades this season. 3. Higher or lower? This season.
Lower.
Lower than 3?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. Adding prospects of Danila Klimovic's value or higher. All you need to do is add one of those. Do you think they'll be able to add one of those?
Yes.
Higher than Danila
Higher, yeah.
Klimovic's value. All right, this is a good one. Playoff series over the next 20 months. One, higher or lower?
So this is this season and next?
This season and next
How many
season.
they play in or how many
Just
they win?
one. Just one playoff series to play
That
in.
they participate in?
Will they make the playoffs in the next
Lower.
this season, next season? Yeah, I think lower too. I think that's unfortunate. Linus Karlsson, NHL games this season, 6. Higher or lower? Will Karlsson get into some NHL games this year?
Higher.
Higher. I think so too. I think he'll get a run later on.
Part
this
of my
season
bet is predicated on the Canucks at some point falling out of the playoff picture.
and making some moves.
Yeah, I
here,
mean, Cole Lind, how many games did Cole Lind get down the stretch in that 2021 season?
right.
Like 12.
Did he get 12?
Something like
Okay,
that. I
something
mean,
decent.
okay, maybe not 12, but there were a lot of games where I was like, man, that guy was invisible. One sec. I actually want to look it up.
Yeah,
now.
I'm actually a little curious. I don't think he was in that many games.
He wasn't in that many, but it was a solid chunk. He got 7.
7. Okay.
So
you would have hit the over in the
right?
Karlsson situation. Okay, last one, and then we'll move on to a couple other things I want to bring up, especially talk about a little bit about Luke Schenn. Final one, Bo Horvat's next contract, the average annual value, $8.3 million. Higher or lower? I'm going to say higher. I think it's going to be higher than 8.3.
Potentially.
And we're talking, you picked the over on 40 for goals. Contract year, free agency. We heard the Frank Saravalli thing about $9 million from one team. And as Frank said, it only takes one. So $8.3 million, I'm going to take the over. I don't know if I'm taking the over at 9, but I think 8.5 could be legitimate for Horvat.
The over is definitely possible, but I will take the lower.
Take the under, eh?
I will take the under just because I think recency bias is a hell of a drug.
Mm-hmm.
And Horvat's he's in the top 5 in the league for goal scoring right now.
Right.
But I think there's some shooting percentage regression that's going to come along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to hit 40 goals, but for him to be, let's say, an $8.5 million player, I think he's going to have to sustain this type of, top 10 in the league in goal scoring sort of pace. He's probably going to need, if he gets dealt at the trade deadline, a strong playoff run to boost his value, which is definitely possible. But my point is, I still think there's more work to be done. I think it's definitely, if I was a betting man right now, I think he clears 8, but over 8.3, that's around where I'm like, that's might be a little bit too much.
And so
it's not a confident under, though. I'll say that.
This one's got the chat going. Don says he takes a cut to stay captain. Drago says lower if he stays a Canuck. Corey says if he gets 40, he's getting 9. So, I mean, all interesting. I don't know if he takes that much of a cut to stay a Canuck.
I don't.
It's not like the organization has done him.
I mean, they picked JT Miller over him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really as simple as that. I mean, players want to feel special. Mm-hmm. They want to feel really, really
especially
valued.
when you have a C on your chest.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's that situation.
If I was in Bo's position, there's no way I'm taking a hometown discount after you prioritize JT over me. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that the Canucks did Horvat wrong and it's not a disrespect thing. Mm-hmm. But if I'm in the player's shoes, it's like, okay, you prioritize the other guy, that's fine, but don't expect me now to then take a hometown discount, especially when you aren't in a winning environment.
Yep.
Like, what are you going to do? So who are you? Like, what? That extra few $100,000? Yeah. Like, what? That's going to help fund OEL's retirement fund?
Yeah, no, exactly.
So his retirement package?
Yeah, he better be buying some dinners.